The Conjuring Last Rites is the supposed end of a journey that began in 2013, but in many ways it really began in 2010 with Insidious. That was James Wan's first experiment with the formula of bringing grounded family drama into horror. In a 2022 Facebook post commemorating the 11-year anniversary of Insidious, James Wan wrote this about his writing partner Leigh Whannell's approach. Leigh wrote a fantastically efficient script that was scary as well as emotional. This would go on to inspire my approach for The Conjuring. The first two Conjuring movies especially did a great job, using the darkness of demons, witches, and ghosts to emphasize the light. One of the most effective moments for me in the franchise is in the second movie when the mother, Peggy Hodgson, mentions how when her husband left, he took all the records with him. She initially phrases it as, he took all the music the day he left, as if he sucked all the joy from their lives. Ed promises, we're going to have music in here one way or another. He borrows the guitar and sings them some Elvis. Already a heartwarming scene, but even more so given the context. The family's going through hell. Ed and Lorraine bring the comfort of someone believing them and understanding what they're going through. And now, they've even found a way to let them have joy again, even if only for a minute or two. That's when I fell in love with these movies. They're scary too. The clap scene in the first Conjuring is a masterclass in setup and payoff. Effective scares make the movies great horror, which makes the warmer scenes even more effective in their contrast to the darkness. So these great horror movies become simply great movies. There was a third one too, and some spin-offs. But now we've reached the end of Phase 1, whatever that means. Considering the record-breaking box office performance of Last Rites, I think it means buckle up for Conjuring New Blood, or Conjuring Resurrection. In any case, the movie is clearly written as a culmination. See why this was Ed and Lorraine Warren's final case. But does it pay off? Is it a satisfying conclusion? Like all great final chapters, it starts with a flashback to open a thread they can tie up at the end of the movie to create a sense of closure. A false sense of closure? Don't be so quick to judge. Ecclesiastes chapter 7 verse 8. The end of a matter is better than its beginning, and patience is better than pride. The year is 1964, 7 years before the original Conjuring took place. Just flashbacky enough to warrant recasting the Warrens. Initially, the plan was to de-age Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga?
Farmiga, not Vera Farmiga.
Which is so much better than what I
It's fine.
Director Michael Chaves started having second thoughts about de-aging, especially considering the franchise's typical approach of shooting things in camera as much as possible. Even the Crooked Man is mostly an actor with prosthetics and makeup, Javier Botet, who's found a niche in horror movies. At age 5, he was diagnosed with Marfan syndrome, leading to a tall, thin build with more flexible joints. So yeah, Chaves was worried. Maybe recasting is the way to go instead of digital de-aging, but he didn't want to say anything until Vera came to him and was like, we should just cast younger actors. And he was like, yeah, and you should probably tell Mr. WB, you know, it was your idea after all. And in the end, they cast Madison Lawler and Orion Smith, relative unknowns. I bet it wouldn't be too expensive to cast them in a prequel.
How many cases you guys had?
Maybe 1,000.
1,000?
Yeah, well, we started young, about your age.
And the current rumors are that they're developing a prequel movie of some kind. This particular case begins at an antique store on April 20th, 1964. Ed and Lorraine Warren interview Victoria Granger, whose father recently hanged himself after complaining of a strange presence and hearing voices. Now, she's experiencing the same thing. The pregnant Lorraine walks into the storeroom to investigate. Avoid undercooked eggs, raw sprouts, pre-made deli salads. Nothing about encounters with the devil. Lorraine and the baby should be fine. She hears a voice whispering her name. It draws her to something covered in a sheet. Removing it reveals a mirror, a creepy mirror with sculpted baby heads on top of it. Lorraine talks to it. I'm here to help. I can feel your spirit, your fear. And there's something else. What is it? Lorraine touches the mirror. It cracks, and her reflection smiles wickedly before treating her to some images of the future. An attic, someone hanging in that attic. An older Lorraine, this one played by Vera Farmiga, screaming, then the baby in her womb, and suddenly that baby wants out. Those future visions are a fun reward for repeat viewing, because they are actual images from later in the movie, something you only recognize if you watch it twice. Don't necessarily take that as a recommendation. Ed rushes her to the hospital. She's bleeding. The baby is struggling. The power goes out. Lorraine senses that presence again. She hears growling. She sees hands and glowing eyes in the dark, crawling toward her. Lorraine pushes. The cord is around the baby's neck. They do their best. The baby doesn't make it. Lorraine cradles her. She prays. The baby's cries tell her those prayers have been answered. Little Judy Warren will have life after all. This scene is scary, but not in a horror sense. More in a dramatic, watching parents almost lose their baby sense. The evil reflection menacing you through the mirror gag feels too gimmicky to be scary. The demon itself, I do like that it's so shrouded in darkness you barely get a feel for it. Other than those large hands, all the better to steal your baby with. Emphasizing that physical feature in particular was a good choice. Later on, we'll learn this was the first demon Ed and Lorraine ever encountered. As Lorraine, Madison Lawlor does a good job delivering the emotional turmoil required in the role. Not much is asked of Orion Smith as Ed, but you can buy him as a young Ed Warren, at least for their limited screen time. As Judy grows, they learn that she has inherited her mother's gift, or is it a curse? She's in tune with the world of spirits and sees horrible things. But Lorraine teaches her to just shut it out. Distract and comfort yourself with a nursery rhyme, Lucy Lockett. 1986, West Pittston, Pennsylvania. Meet the Smurl family. It's a packed house. Jack and Janet Smurl, their 4 daughters, and Jack's parents, and a good boy named Simon. Having grown up in a house myself with a similar number of people in it, I can attest that one aspect the movie got right is the constant chaos of that many people in the same room, the overlapping arguments, talking over each other, and the crises that inevitably happen 5 minutes before you have to leave for an event. Today is their daughter Heather's confirmation. Despite the morning's chaos, everything goes well. That night, the twins Karen and Shannon play their usual game of hide in the pantry. Everyone sits down for dinner, and finally, the dark turn. What did Heather's grandparents get her as a gift for her confirmation? Aw, it's a haunted mirror. I've always wanted one of those. They found it at the swap meet over in Bucks County. Don't worry about the demon, it'll buff right out. This movie uses a similar trick as Insidious. They often employ a handheld camera, so it's got that shaky quality, until a ghost is present. Then it gets still. There might be a slow zoom. That change from grounded and handheld to something more controlled contributes to the vibe shift, the feeling of a presence. When it's time for the cake, someone blows out Heather's candle before she gets the chance. It must have been Dawn, but she swears it wasn't her. They turn the light back on just before the light fixture falls out of the ceiling. Like shrapnel, a shard cuts Heather's forehead. There's a lot of blood. This sets the stage early on for a more violent presence, suitable for the final big bad of the franchise. The Conjuring movies usually evolve or devolve into a physical confrontation, but I'm not used to that much blood, especially this early in the movie. Freeze frame. The image becomes a photograph, and some introductory text scrolls over it. When you swipe through social media posts, you think that's doom scrolling? No, this is true demonic doom scrolling. The text is a franchise staple that gives the movie a vintage feel, and they always create that promise. You're about to see something really f***ed up. For Last Rites, it reads, after decades of investigating the supernatural, renowned paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren had seen every possible case. But in 1986, in the suburbs of Pennsylvania, they would face an evil unlike anything they had ever encountered. This case would devastate their family and bring their careers to an end, based on the true story. Finally, the title, The Conjuring, Last Rites. And as the title appears, A discordant choir. I love a discordant choir. Ever since 2001: A Space Odyssey, it always gives me the sense we are approaching a strange, fundamental force of the universe beyond human comprehension. Will the movie live up to that promise? Let's see. Wait a minute, is that the bar we're setting? The Conjuring 4 has to be a fundamental force of the universe beyond human comprehension, otherwise we're going to consider it a failure? Yes. At a school, Ed and Lorraine give a lecture. Stop me if you've heard this one before. The young occupants of the apartment thought they were speaking to the spirit of a little girl named Annabelle Mullins. An oldie but a goodie, a nice nod to the case that kicked off the franchise. And I assume we'll tastefully leave it at that. No need to shove Annabelle back into the story again, right? Right? Turning the lights on reveals a mostly empty room, and the few students who remain treat the Warrens like a joke. The release of Ghostbusters 2 years ago doesn't help. There is definitely some fun to Ed and his serious demeanor, setting the record straight.
So you guys were kind of like the Ghostbusters?
No. Well, we didn't bust ghosts.
But we did see the movie.
One question they don't quite answer: why did you stop taking cases? The truth comes down to Ed's heart. He had a heart attack and the devil made me do it. 4 years ago in real time, 5 years ago in movie time. So demons and ghosts, IRL jump scares, probably not the best idea if you have a heart condition. That night at dinner, things take a scary turn. Judy is thinking about bringing Tony to Ed's upcoming birthday party.
Who's Tony?
Dad, we've been dating for 6 months.
Oh, that Tony.
This movie definitely has the most parenting from Ed and Lorraine than any previous Conjuring movie, which means a lot of dad energy. And Patrick Wilson does a great job. He makes you want his approval, but also plays hard to get, so you want it even more. You just look at him and you want to hear it. I approve of you and your choices. I don't mind that you ended your promising financial career to instead summarize Marvel movies on the internet. Yes, son, I know they're in chronological order. Yeah, I'm proud of you, Gil. Now, can you leave me alone? What were we talking about? Wait, do you hear that whispering? It's Judy, quietly singing that nursery rhyme. Lucy Lockett. That's the nursery rhyme she uses to ward off the dark spirits. Anyway, I'm sure it's nothing. Oh, that gray hand on Judy's shoulder? Yeah, I wouldn't worry about that. Everybody run! I've been watching a lot of horror movies and thinking about what makes them scary. To an extent, you can break it down to a science, why some work and others don't. One thing I usually find effective is when the director allows you to notice something. Jump scares are the opposite. Your attention is forcibly drawn. On the other end is when there is something odd. It's not pointed out, so instead it creeps up on you, which is closer to how scares work in real life. Most people don't have an orchestra following them around to punctuate scary moments with scary sound cues. Yeah, most people. Would you guys leave me alone already? And that's how the hand appears in this scene. The score only draws attention to it after a few seconds. Sometimes scares are a science, but there's also an intangible art, where a special talent can find them where other people don't. That's how you end up with iconic moments, like that clap scene from the first Conjuring. Without James Wan at the helm, honestly, the movies have struggled to find those special scares again. But there are still decent moments like the hand on Judy's shoulder. But honestly, the most effective moment for me in the scene?
Wish I could have lasagna.
He needs to eat a heart-healthy diet, so he can't eat lasagna. And that's a litmus test for whether or not you're going to enjoy this movie, because it functions much better as a Warren family drama, a dad who has to look after his heart, a girl introducing her boyfriend to her parents for the first time. But as nice as all this is, tell me in the comments when you heard the grand finale of the Conjuring series was coming, is this really what you had in mind?
Give me the lasagna, bleh.
In Pennsylvania, the mother, Janet, hears something whispering her name in the basement. She turns on the light and, oh, it's just John Wayne. Upstairs, the twins are at it again, hiding in the dark pantry, pulling on the phone cord. They yank on it hard. Girls, stop it right now. They run by in the other room. Oh, hi, girls. Wait! If the girls are out there, who's in the pantry? Janet turns the light on and no one there. Upstairs, one of the girls finds her doll in another room. How'd it get there? And how is it floating? Must be one of those new anti-gravity dolls. Oh no, it's just a creepy old lady with an unnaturally wide, toothy smile holding it. Must be one of those... What? Of course, no one believes her about what she saw, but supernatural or not, a mirror with creepy baby heads on top is creepy. Heather does not like it, and she does not like having it in her room. Dawn has an idea. It's trash day tomorrow, so in the dark of night, they heave it outside and leave it on the curb. Sure enough, the next day, that mirror ends up in the compactor, and as it's crushed, Dawn starts throwing up blood and pieces of mirror. More of this movie's escalation in physical violence. This is definitely a visceral image, the kind you can feel, and it's made more effective by building up in stages. At first, it's your average vomit. Then it transitions to blood, and then you hear that sound, shards of glass. By the end of the scene, you're telling yourself, I am never eating glass again. Maybe on special occasions, but other than that, I'm swearing off it personally. Soon time for Ed's party, where Judy brings Tony, and Ed wears his "you want my approval, but you're not going to get it so easy" look. And everybody's there. Father Gordon, who has been the Warrens' contact and ally from the church in every mainline Conjuring movie, and even Annabelle Comes Home, where he helped to seal the doll away in its container. We see Officer Brad for the first time since Conjuring 1, though the Warrens' technical assistant Drew, who's also at the party, used Brad's car in the third movie. Here at the barbecue, Brad shows off a scar he got during the exorcism of Carolyn Perrin. I'm told the real-life Tony and Judy also cameo in the party scene, but for the life of me, I can't find them anywhere. And I don't believe anyone else can either. Just Google it. All these articles list the cameos with pictures. But for Tony and Judy, nobody has a picture. It's just, oh, they're in there. Trust me. Upstairs in her childhood bedroom, Judy meets an old friend, Annabelle. Oh, good, Annabelle's back. But some concentration and the nursery rhyme is enough to banish the apparition. It's hard to be scared by Annabelle anymore after her appearances in all the previous movies and 3 spin-offs, the last of which bordered on horror comedy. Tony finds Judy whispering that rhyme and asks about it. She tells him the story, they kiss, and oh, hi, Mrs. Warren.
Tony, Ed was looking for you. He's taken some of the guys to the garage.
Oh, so, like me?
Mia Tomlinson and Ben Hardy both deliver solid performances as Judy and Tony. Judy as someone who grew up with the spiritual world, but is not entirely comfortable with it. Tony as someone trying to understand that world and be there for Judy, despite the obvious fear anyone would have approaching the unambiguously supernatural, and of course the desire to win Ed's approval. I love his flabbergasted delivery when he realizes, wait a minute, the guys are going to the garage? I'm a guy. Am I one of Ed's guys? After Tony heads to the garage, Lorraine talks to Judy privately. She can tell something is wrong, that Judy is seeing more of that stuff lately. I can handle it, Judy assures her. No, you can't. You have to shut it out. After a lifetime of it, Lorraine can assure her, you don't want it. That is one of my biggest pet peeves. Like at the dry pot place when I ask for medium spicy and the lady behind the counter is like, trust me, that's really spicy. You don't want it. And it was really spicy, but now I have to order it every time or she'll think she was right. My other pet peeve, when a character arc at the core of a movie is barely fleshed out. Judy becomes the most important character in the movie. It's all about her, as we'll see in the film's climax. But basically none of her arc lands. They allude to this tension between Lorraine and Judy's differing approach to the supernatural. Lorraine faces it head on while telling Judy to shut it out.
Do you remember what we practiced?
I can handle it.
You can't. Judy, you can't. You need to shut it out.
This is the core tension. Should you shut it out or confront it? But it's hardly explored other than the primary demon in the movie, and that's unsatisfying because Judy is dealing with this in her daily life. And obviously she can't spend every day in a life or death battle with mirrors and monsters. So what is the tangible difference between the shutting it out method and the not shutting it out approach. Has Judy tried the other method? Does she want to try it? For her arc to work in this movie, that tension had to be explored. Instead, she's just in shut it out mode until the conflict is resolved in the climax. Is it resolved in a satisfying way? We'll see, but from my smug tone, I think you know my opinion already. In the garage, ping pong. Tony holds his own, but Ed Warren remains undefeated. Now, if that intense game of ping pong doesn't give him another heart attack, what comes next might. Tony asks for their blessing to propose to their daughter. It's pretty fast, but Lorraine and Ed got married fast too. Sometimes you just know. Lorraine's blessing is given, and Ed isn't so sure. You see him like a good kid, but it is fast. Oh, hi, Judy. She sees the ring and cat's out of the bag. Is that for me? Tony doesn't know what to say, but the slightest of approving nods from Ed is everything he needs. Yes, the ring is for you. And Judy responds in kind. Of course, yes. The dramatic moments do land for me, most of which belong to Tony. He's the one with a tangible goal, win Ed's approval. And when he gets it, it's great. That's partly because reality does some of the work for the story already. Most can relate to Tony's struggle in some way, while Judy's is far less tangible. It's harder to conceptualize what she's going through, and maybe a larger issue is that, like I mentioned before, her story is static. It's just creepy thing, nursery rhyme, shut it out, creepy thing, nursery rhyme, shut it out, and so on. Versus Tony, it's a lot more dynamic. Nervous, put down from Ed about being overdressed. Now I'm more nervous. Wait, I'm invited to the garage? Awesome. Can I marry your daughter? No? Oh, that is decidedly less awesome. Hi, Judy. Now can I marry your daughter? Fine. As the night wraps up, Father Gordon mentions a family in Pennsylvania that could really use their help. No, we're retired. All right, geez, just thought I'd ask. In Pennsylvania, that family is not doing well. Dad, you gotta do something. We need to go. Maybe stay at a motel. We can't afford that. So what, you're just gonna let us stay in a haunted house? Best he can offer is that he spoke to the church and there's a process. They gotta document it, prove it's real, but that is little reassurance when a demon is trying to kill you. It's almost a running joke in the Conjuring movies at this point, the church's reluctance to ever get involved. If these cases don't have enough evidence to convince them, I want to see the cases that do. Where are those movies? Maybe if Dad experiences a little demonic entertainment himself, he'll understand the severity of what they're dealing with. And that night, he sees her, the creepy smiling lady at the foot of his bed. Suddenly, he's paralyzed. He floats. And that is an unflattering angle. If they're trying to be scary, I probably would have shot this scene differently. Downstairs, Heather reviews the tape of her confirmation dinner to see what really happened when her candle blew out. She notices something. Pausing at just the right spot, which is not easy on a VCR, reveals a face in the dark. Turning around reveals an axe in a chair. An angry, laughing spirit picks it up and comes after her, until her screaming draws her mother's attention. Turning on the lights reveals nothing. The ghost is gone. If there were any doubts before for Jack, they're gone now. In desperation, he turns to the media. Sure, it'll draw a circus, but maybe also it'll draw someone who can help. These scares are all fine. The smiling lady especially is great nightmare fuel. The glimpses of the unnaturally large smile are brief enough for me to be convincing, but I can't help but notice an odd shift in the movie. We spend a fair amount of time with the Smurl family at first, especially Heather. Then we shift to the Warrens, and by the time we come back to the Smurls, it feels less like we're continuing their story, and more like we're just checking in. Compare it to the first two movies, where you really get to know the Perrins or the Hodgsons. That lets the scares land with more impact. It makes it so much more of a comfort when the Warrens arrive. Last Rites feels like it remembers halfway through. Wait a minute, this is supposed to wrap up the Warren story. Let's make the movie about them instead. With a wedding in her future, time for Judy to try on some dresses in a room where you're surrounded by mirrors, meaning Judy is surrounded by Judys. Like all reflections, they do as she does. Except that one pesky reflection. We all have one. The one stupid reflection that's a little slow. The one that's like, hold on, I'm still buffering. At least Brenda, the bridal consultant, is back. Or someone is back anyway, and under her dress. Ow! She's being a little rough. Ethereal laughter. Oh boy, ethereal laughter is bad. Not quite discordant choir bad, but not good either. It crawls out. The smiling lady. The lights go out. She crawls toward Judy. Judy calls for her mom. The lights come back. Her reflection smiles, punches through the glass, and grabs her throat. I hate the evil reflection thing. It's just not scary. You're dealing with all this crazy supernatural stuff, and then it's just someone going like, bah! Lorraine gets into the room, and it's over. The still standing reflection was a nice trick. Another one of those let you notice it moments, and impressively done without CGI. Apparently, the original plan was to go digital. Some of the art department had previously worked on X-Men First Class, which had a similar mirror room, but in that movie, they faked it with blue screens and CG doubles. They said they tried pulling it off with two-way glass, but it just doesn't work. You can't get close enough to the actor, there's weird reflections, and a bunch of secondary problems you don't think of. But director Michael Shav's gut told him, for Conjuring, they had to go practical. Their DP, Eli Bourne, thought they could pull it off, and to prove it, he had the art department build a little model of the room with a doll in it to show how they could maneuver the camera and get all these angles. That's kind of the bummer of this movie falling short of finale expectations, because you can definitely see the passion that went into it behind the scenes. In Pennsylvania, Father Gordon arrives at the Smurl home. He saw their case on TV and knew they needed help. And he knows that if he sees the evidence firsthand, he can go back and convince the church it's real. The first thing he sees on his arrival is the ambulance and Jack's mother on a gurney. The thing in their home apparently pushed her down the stairs. And the fact that Jack's mother getting hurt happens off-screen is a great example of how the Smurls just become irrelevant halfway through the movie. In the basement, Father Gordon sprinkles holy water, and it burns. Wait, is that not supposed to happen? I might need to make some calls. I'll be right back. Between the burning holy water and ethereal whooshing noise, Gordon has seen enough. He rushes off to the church and hangs himself with the power cord of a floor buffer. I may have skipped some details. He's haunted first. Nosebleed. The receptionist disappears. He's in the dark. A cross doorknob turns upside down. His cross light's on fire. He gets a call from Judy telling him, "You can go now." And finally, possessed by the malevolent force, he grabs the cord, and that's that. This was all well executed, the way it suddenly cuts to Gordon wrapping the cord around his neck unceremoniously, and you don't see his face, emphasizing that this is not him in control. But it is a weird and unusually overt action for a demon in the Conjuring universe, and it raises a lot of questions. Because if demons can reach a couple of towns over and assassinate someone on holy ground, what can't they do? And why don't they do it more often? At the Warren home, Ed and Tony do some bonding over motorcycle repairs. And finally, the artifact room. It's a big deal, Ed inviting him here. They're interrupted by the news of Father Gordon. There's a funeral. There, Judy senses the evil that killed Father Gordon. He did not take his own life. Father Ziegler reveals where it happened, Pennsylvania. Later in the kitchen, Lorraine has a vision. She finds her necklace in the garbage disposal, the necklace Judy gave her as a child in the first Conjuring movie.
I got you a present. Me and Nana got these at the church's yard sale. Nana said this way we'll always be together. You'll be with me and I'll be with you.
Lorraine fishes that necklace out of the sink and drops it when she sees that sink is now filled with blood. It overflows and floods the kitchen. Or does it? When Lorraine bumps into Ed, it's all gone. Just a vision, warning her Judy is in trouble. Whoever sends her these visions really has a flair for the theatrics. Behind the scenes, Shavs has talked about the inspiration these movies take from other horror movies of the era in which they take place. He talked to Bloody Disgusting about how the first Conjuring is rooted in the horror movies of the 70s, like The Changeling and The Exorcist. For this one, he wanted to add some 80s flavor. They shot on C-series anamorphic lenses, vintage lenses, the same ones they used on Poltergeist and Alien. He also notes the bloody sink as a nod to The Shining and Nightmare on Elm Street. I'd also mention Heather with the TV earlier, feels like a nod to Poltergeist. Lorraine knows Judy is in trouble, and so does Tony, because they find him at the door with a concerned look on his face. Judy has gone to Pennsylvania. They go after her to the Smurl home. The plan is to go in, get Judy, and get out. But it isn't so easy looking a desperate family in the eyes, knowing you're the only ones who can help, and turning your back on them. And Judy reminds her parents, we don't run from fights. So the Warrens will fight. They will help the Smurls. Except there's something Judy hasn't told her mother, that she isn't entirely sure why she felt compelled to come here, how it feels like something wants her here. So she's putting her entire family at risk and keeps this crucial piece of information from her mother, the most renowned expert in the field. Why?
Did you tell your mom?
No, I can't talk to her anymore. She's always so
Worried.
Yeah.
She's a worrywart. A demon drags me across state lines, and she can't just be cool about it. She comes across so reckless. Because why wouldn't Judy tell her parents? They worry too much? All we've seen is basically one exchange, where her mom was a little worried. To buy that her worrying is so bad, Judy needs to do something insane like face a demon alone, I personally needed to see a lot more. I would need to see pathological and suffocating concern from Lorraine, to the point where Judy is like, I need out. More than just, honey, you know demons can be scary. Shut up! Leave me alone, Mom! I also hate how the movie doesn't really grapple with Ed and Lorraine's difficult decision to get involved with the Smurl case. It's their safety and the safety of their daughter versus helping a family that needs their help. Except they don't really grapple with that decision because Ed and Lorraine are essentially dragged here by Judy and emotionally blackmailed into helping. In any case, they get to work. Phase 1, pancakes. Ed makes pancakes.
Is this like a normal case? Do you always cook pancakes? Is that part of the process?
Sometimes it's waffles.
It's a nice moment and all part of the job. The demon preys on fear. It'll isolate them. So yeah, fighting back means letting the family know they aren't alone. Ed asks Tony why he quit being a cop, and he tells a harrowing story of a perp sticking a shotgun in his face, pulling the trigger, then the click. It was only by luck that Tony survived. The gun was loaded, but it misfired. The next day, he quit the force and bought that ring for Judy. Another nice Tony-Ed moment. Honestly, this subplot is the emotional backbone of the movie, and that doesn't feel like the right choice. Cynically, it feels like more emphasis was placed on it because they really wanted to land the passing of the torch, to keep open the possibility of future installments in the franchise. Maybe too much attention was placed there rather than the actual story at hand. While the soon-to-be father and son-in-law talk, the mother and daughter try to do the same, but they're interrupted when they sense a presence upstairs. Lorraine checks it out. She tells Judy to stay downstairs. Upstairs, Lorraine senses and even glimpses the dark figures. Next, she heads to the basement, where she hears echoes of the past, enough to piece it all together. There are 3 spirits here. A woman had an affair. Her husband went insane and went after her with an axe. She hid in the basement with her elderly mother. He killed them both. But here's the thing, you're not going to believe this. In the first movie, there were a bunch of ghosts, but it was really a witch behind it all. In the second movie, it was a ghost, but it was really a demon behind it all. In the third movie, it was a demon, but it was really a witch behind it all. Kind of a remix of the first two. And now, it's ghosts, but really it's a demon. So, same twist as the second movie, except this time we knew it was coming thanks to the opening scene with the mirror demon. What does the demon want? This has been going on for months, so what's it waiting for? Ed and Lorraine can't figure it out. Unlike previous Conjuring movies, we're about 2 hours ahead of the characters because we know from the beginning about the mirror demon, and because this is billed as the final case, we know it'll be personal to the Warrens. We know the demon wants Judy. That's what it's been waiting for her to come here. It can work for the audience to be ahead of the characters. It can cast a dark, tragic cloud over them. It can build tension. But honestly, it feels more like this movie doesn't realize that we know. Like it actually thinks it's a twist or a reveal. It's been about Judy this whole time. Yeah, we know. And now the demon strikes. Bad timing. For some reason, the demon waited for Judy's experienced demon hunting parents to get there first. It mimics Lorraine's voice to call Judy upstairs. Judy heads to the attic where she finds that mirror, back from the dead. How did the mirror come back? Ed explains it to Tony earlier in the movie, when Tony asks why they don't just destroy the items in the antiques room.
It's complicated. Sometimes it makes things worse. Sometimes they just won't let you.
Kind of like Annabelle, who just won't go away. Some chalk rolls out from behind the mirror, and above her, Judy sees a message scrawled on the ceiling. Miss me? No, I didn't. A rocking chair rocks of its own accord, an Annabelle staple. And Judy runs downstairs and finds Annabelle growing tall, and that's pretty goofy looking. And honestly, enough with Annabelle already. I also get taken out of this because I just can't put myself in Judy's shoes at all. She's walking into these rooms as if she doesn't know something spooky awaits her. She either falls for the same ruse twice, the demon mimicking someone's voice and going, "Hey Judy, come here for a second," or Judy's like, "I'm brave, I'm gonna face this thing." But it's unearned braveness. She has spent a lifetime shutting these things out. She has no idea how to confront them. What is her plan exactly? And we see there is no plan. Just run and fall down the stairs, which is honestly a fundamental issue with the whole story. It all hinges on Judy running to Pennsylvania with no game plan because she feels compelled to come, but she isn't physically forced to go. It seems like she had this foreign entity in her brain telling her, "Go to the Smurls," and she chose to listen to that voice. If the movie had dealt with the tension of shut it out or face it, maybe this could have landed. We could sympathize with the choice. Or maybe if someone more personally close to Judy was killed, other than Father Gordon, so it turns into a personal vendetta. Otherwise, Judy just comes off as reckless. And frankly, a little stupid. Maybe even dumber than that reflection in the mirror scene that was like, "Oh wait, are we supposed to bend down now? We're not standing anymore? Sorry guys, my bad." Lorraine and Ed run over to check on Judy. They check out the attic, and they see the mirror. The one they first met April 20th, 1964, the night Judy was born.
It can't be. Found us.
We never really find out what the demon wants exactly, other than Judy. It tried to take her as a baby, but presumably God or an angel stepped in the way in answer to Lorraine's prayers. So now the demons come back to get what it failed to retrieve 20 years ago. That's all we can really surmise. I was a little surprised because previous mainline and spin-off movies at least delve a little into what the demon is after. Often we even get the demon's name. Here it's unexplained and mostly unquestioned. I'm okay without a full explanation. The demon's plan does feel a little convoluted, like why can't it just go after Judy? Why does it have to bait the family through these ghosts at the Smurl's house? But I can allow it because how can us mortals possibly hope to understand the machinations of a demon? The part I have a harder time buying is that Ed and Lorraine would just let this fester for 20 years. You have a basement filled with hundreds of demonic artifacts. In the house where you live, where you're raising your daughter, clearly they're okay exposing her to a little bit of risk. But I get that this mirror demon is too risky, considering it came after her once before. So I get why they wouldn't want to physically go back and investigate further. But you're telling me they never cracked open a book, never asked around, "Hey, you ever hear about a mirror demon?" Obviously, this is a classic finale trope. We never set up an overarching story for this franchise, so there's no way to provide a full circle, satisfying conclusion. So, flashback. Here's an important thing we conveniently never mentioned until now. Why did we never mention it? Well, we agreed to never speak of it again. Yeah, the Ed and Lorraine I know, if they faced a demon that put their daughter at risk and knew that demon was still out there, they would try in some way to prepare for its potential return, not just ignore it for the entire length of a franchise. Anyway, Ed and Lorraine, after seeing the mirror, report back to the Smurls. We have good news and bad news. Bad news, the mirror is back and it's got a demon attached to it. Good news, we're done running from it. We're going to take that mirror and shove it into our antiques room where the evil can be contained. As they prepare to stage their final battle, Judy falls ill and the skies rumble with thunder. Ed says a prayer, covers the mirror, and prepares to carry it out with Jack while Tony gets the car ready. I probably would have volunteered for that job too. All right, so we got to carry this demonic mirror. I'll get the car ready. Huh? I mean, we're going to want to move fast, right? So probably best if, I'd love to carry the demon mirror, but someone's got to start the car, right? Doesn't that take like 2 seconds? Oh, no, not this car. No, this car, this is a complicated car. Really, I'm probably the only one who can start it properly. Probably best I go ahead. Just go, okay? Oh, I mean, if you want me to go to the car, I'll definitely just go already. Jack and Ed carry the mirror across the boards in the attic, a precarious task. One wrong step means falling through the insulation and drywall. As they go, the mirror gets heavier. The straps undo themselves, and the cover flies off. Well, they should be fine as long as they don't look, and Jack is looking right into the mirror. In it, he sees the smiling woman above them. He freaks out, falls down the steps to the floor below, leaving Ed to hold the mirror himself, dangling above Jack. He holds on as long as he can, yells for Jack to get out of the way, and it strikes his ankle. It's not played for laughs, but Jack is comically useless in this scene. Ed was very clear about how the demon is going to mess with them. Crazy stuff is going to happen. But no matter what, focus on the task at hand and do not look. There isn't even a moment's hesitation. Jack doesn't even try to not look. It's just, listen, Jack, no matter what, don't look at it. Yeah, I got it. Oh my God, look! Outside, Tony grabs the car, which I might have been hard on him earlier. He did have to park a little far away thanks to all the press taking up any nearby parking earlier. So he drives back to the house and Smiling Lady scares him off the road. That one made me jump. Conjuring scares are usually relegated to the indoors. Seeing the Smiling Lady outside the house in the rain was a nice jump scare. But a couple of weird things in this scene. Why is Tony driving like a maniac? It took me a second to reorient myself because I was like, where's he going? Why is he so far away from the house? On second viewing, I realized, yeah, he couldn't park close to the house because of all the press. But if you don't make that connection, and then you see him driving like he's Baby Driver or something, for a second it feels like he's just ditching them. Then after he crashes, the camera does this crazy thing, which is cool. It sweeps up into the sky and then back down to the front door. But why? It really feels like it's emphasizing something we're supposed to see, like they've been transported to another dimension or something. Instead, I think it's just meant to add to that feeling of disorientation, especially as Tony tries to get his bearings. But it felt to me like a cool camera maneuver that isn't really guided by reason. If you compare it to James Wan, he can often be stylistic with the camera, but also purposeful. Inside the house, Judy has been coughing, feeling a little sick, and now Lorraine finds her possessed.
We've been waiting so patiently for little Judy to come back to us.
Possessed Judy crawls demonically and pushes Lorraine into the basement. Simon the dog barks at the evil presence until Judy telepathically launches him into the wall. Okay, now you've gone too far. Judy turns to the kids until Ed does the classic, look at me, you know me, I know you're in there. Evil Judy mocks him and gives him a cardiac episode. Then Ed does the classic try to get his pills but accidentally drops them all until he manages to grab one. Downstairs, Lorraine is haunted by the ghosts, recreating the crazy husband's axe murder until Tony opens the storm door, ending the demonic flashback. Ed and Lorraine reunite and send the Smurls outside for safety. Now they know the demon is after Judy. This has become a Warren family affair, and you can almost feel the filmmakers breathing a sigh of relief. Thank God the Smurls are out of the way, and we can get to the actual story of this movie. Warrens versus the Mirror. What a twist. In the attic, they find Judy hanging. These are the images Lorraine saw when she touched the mirror in 1964. Judy hanging, Lorraine herself screaming. They just barely managed to get Judy off the rope. And then They fight a mirror. Oh, you mean like a metaphor, like they battle their demons, their dark reflections? No, I mean they fight a mirror. Oh, and their evil reflections are there too, and yell at them. It's awesome. For a bit, the mirror is winning, until Lorraine realizes, all this time, I've been telling Judy to shut it out. That didn't work. Let's try this instead. Judy, don't shut it out. Don't run. They touch the mirror and they go like, ah! They try really hard and the mirror dies. That is unsatisfying. Judy's journey has been ill-defined and unexplored up to this point. There has not been this tension between shut it out or don't shut it out. So there's no emotional impact to Judy finally deciding she's going to face these demons, which basically comes down to looking at the mirror, touching it, and going, ah! It's just, I wasn't looking at the demon, so it came after me. And now I'm looking at it, so it stops. Super Mario World did the same thing 25 years ago. You know how boos only chase you when you're not looking, and then when you look at them, they get all shy and freeze up? They bring the mirror to the antiques room, and Ed tosses Tony the keys, welcoming him to the family, which is a reference to the real story where Tony did go on to co-own the museum with Judy. Finally, the wedding, and everyone is there. The obvious ones, Brad and Drew. The less obvious, Carolyn and Cindy Perrin. The mother and one of the daughters from the family haunted in the first movie. Peggy and Janet Hodgson, the mother and a daughter from the second movie. David Glatzel, the boy who was initially possessed in the third movie. Then you have some meta cameos. Natalie Safran, who played a nun in The Nun 2, and happens to be married to Peter Safran, a producer on the Conjuring franchise. Many now know him as James Gunn's co-CEO for DC. Even James Wan is there, the guy who directed Saw and Insidious. He did also direct The Conjuring 1 and 2. I guess that's relevant. Hell, even I was at the wedding. At the reception, Lorraine tells Ed a vision she had of the future. They grow old, have grandkids, they write a book, and they keep working. Hey, this movie lied! They said it was their final case! Whoa, calm down. It's just a movie. And it was their final case. They just consult and talk to people on the phone and stuff. Okay, I'm sorry. I hate when movies lie to me. All right, that sounds like a you problem, okay? Finally, the ending text. Ed and Lorraine Warren were married over 6 decades. At the age of 74, Ed suffered a massive stroke. He was revived but remained immobile. Lorraine became his sole nurse and caretaker and was at his side when he died 5 years later. Lorraine did not remarry and passed away peacefully in her home at the age of 92. Then another paragraph about how they were willing to talk about the paranormal despite ridicule from the scientific community, and despite some controversy in their lives and work, they are considered by many to be pioneers in the field. I love the non-committal stance the movie takes. It doesn't want to say they were or weren't pioneers, just they are considered by many to be pioneers. I honestly could have done without all this text at the end, mainly because I don't connect these movies with reality at all. I found it hilarious when Chris McKinnell, the Warrens' grandson, came out recently and was like, "The Conjuring movies are all fake. Last Rites is pure fantasy. I'm not even going to see it." It's just, I don't think anyone watched these movies and was like, "Wow, I can't believe this is all real. It all really happened. Judy punched a mirror." If you take these movies as pure fiction, then the laziest way to end the final movie is, "and here's how they died." It feels almost dishonest. Like, just level with us. You're gonna make more movies, and we don't blame you for it. It's because we want to watch them. Can we just drop the charade that this is the end, and we can stop pretending these are based on reality? Like with previous Conjuring movies, the end credits are interspliced with archival footage and photos. Then there's a post-credits showing a photo of the mirror with some text. The real mirror currently resides at the Warrens Occult Museum. It was used in a practice intended to conjure the dead through reflection. It is commonly referred to as a conjuring mirror. I love how they say that like it's a big deal. Like, wait for it, conjuring mirror, to trick us into thinking, oh my god, the whole franchise is named after this mirror. This was the planned finale all along. But I'd imagine conjure is a pretty common phrase in the Warrens' world. I bet half the objects in that room have conjure in their name, so I'm not really impressed. Honestly, I'd be even less impressed if it was planned, because I really have to question James Wan's talent if 13 years ago he was like, I want to make 9 movies, so a decade from now, their daughter can punch a mirror. Are you sure that's going to be a satisfying finale? Oh, I didn't mention the best part. The mirror is going to spin around first, like a crazy amount. Anyway, that's how the Conjuring verse Phase 1 wraps up. Honestly, it's about what I think a lot of us expected after The Devil Made Me Do It. Watchable, not great, not horrible, forgettable. Kind of like how Ed and Lorraine forgot about the demon mirror for 2 decades. Month of Terror continues tomorrow with Friday the 13th, Part 2.